Welcome to SCP Files. Today, we delve deep into the archives to uncover the most lethal entities known to the SCP Foundation. From otherworldly beings to unexplained phenomena, these are not just stories, they're warnings. Prepare yourself as we present the top 10 deadliest SCPs. SCP-087 is located on the campus of Redacted. The doorway leading to SCP-087 is constructed of reinforced steel with an electro-release lock mechanism. It has been disguised to resemble a janitorial closet consistent with the design of the building. The lock mechanism on the doorknob will not release, unless redacted volts are applied in conjunction with counterclockwise rotation of the key. The inside of the door is lined with 6 centimeters of industrial foam padding. Due to the results of the final exploration, no personnel are permitted access to SCP-087. Description: SCP-087 is an unlit platform staircase. Stairs descend on a 38-degree angle for 13 steps before reaching a semicircular platform of approximately 3 meters in diameter. Descent direction rotates 180 degrees at each platform. The design of SCP-087 limits subjects to a visual range of approximately 1.5 flights. A light source is required for any subjects exploring SCP-087, as there are no lighting fixtures or windows present. Lighting sources brighter than 75 watts have shown to be ineffective, as SCP-087 seems to absorb excess light. Subjects' report and audio recordings confirm the distressed vocalizations from what is presumed to be a child between the ages of Redacted and Redacted. The source of the distress calls is estimated to be located approximately 200 meters below the initial platform. However, any attempts to descend the staircase have failed to bring subjects closer to the source. The depth of descent calculated from Exploration 4, the longest exploration, is shown to be far beyond both the possible structure of both the building and geological surroundings. At this time, it is unknown if SCP-087 has an endpoint. SCP-087 has undergone 4 video-recorded explorations by Class D personnel. Each subject conducting an exploration has encountered SCP-087-1, which appears as a face with no visible pupils, nostrils, or mouth. The nature of SCP-087-1 is entirely unclear, but it has been determined that it is not the source of the pleading. Subjects exhibit feelings of intense paranoia and fear when faced with SCP-087-1, but it is undetermined whether said feelings are abnormal or simply natural reactions. Over a period of 2 weeks following Exploration 4, several members of the staff and students from the Redacted campus reported knocking at a variable rate of 2 seconds per knock, coming from the interior of SCP-087. The door leading to SCP-087 has been fitted with 6 centimeter thick industrial padding. All reports of knocking have ceased. Exploration 1, D-8432, is a 43-year-old Caucasian male of average build and appearance and unremarkable psychological background. Class D designation is a result of demotion due to mishandling SCP Redacted. D-8432 is equipped with a 75-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours, a handheld camcorder fitted with a transmission stream, and an audio headset for communication with Dr. Redacted at control. D-8432 steps through doorway onto initial platform. Despite the wattage, the flood lamp only illuminates the first 9 steps. The second platform is not visible. It's fucking dark. Is your flood lamp functioning properly? D-8432 shines the light out the door and into the academic building's hallway. The light reaches significantly further. Yeah, it's working. It just won't light these stairs all the way down. Thank you. Please continue. D-8432 descends for 13 steps before reaching the second platform. The platform is in the shape of a semicircle, with an apparently concrete surface and walls. There are no distinct markings, aside from nondescript patches of dust, dirt, or wear, consistent with that which is found in a typical concrete stairwell. D-8432 rotates 180 degrees to begin descent down the second flight, then pauses. Reason for stopping: You hear that? There's a fucking kid down there. Sounds like one. None of the described audio is feeding through the camera or mic at this time. Could you please describe the sound? It's young. Either female or a very young boy. It's crying and sobbing and saying, "Please help, please." It keeps repeating that and crying. Can you estimate its distance from your current location? Fuck. I don't know. Maybe 200 meters down? Please continue down the next flight. The subject descends another 13 steps. As he reaches the landing, audio of the child as described is picked up. The child alternates between sobbing, wailing, and the words, "please," "help," and "down here." The level of audio is consistent with D-8432's report of it being approximately 200 meters below. Can you still hear the crying? Yeah, we're picking it up as well. Please continue down. Stop if you notice any changes in the audio or environment. The subject descends another 3 flights of stairs before stopping. Keep going, please. D-8432 continues another 17 flights, total of 22 flights before stopping. There are no visual changes in the environment, and each flight has been a consistent 13 steps. I'm not getting any fucking closer to the kid. Stereo audio confirms that the crying noise has not increased in volume and remains approximately 200 meters below the subject. Noted. Please continue. The subject continues another 28 flights before stopping. 50 flights total. D-8432 is standing on the 51st landing, counting the initial ground level landing. D-8432 is estimated to be 200 meters below the initial platform. 34 minutes have elapsed. The volume of the crying has not increased. I feel a little uneasy. You've spent a long time in a dark, unknown stairwell. It's natural. Please continue. The subject hesitates before stepping down on the next stair. As the subject moves forward, the flood lamp illuminates a face located approximately at the bottom of the flight. It appears to be the same size and shape as a human head, except it is lacking a mouth, nostrils, and pupils. The face is completely motionless, but is making direct eye contact, indicating its awareness of D-8432. Fuck. What the fuck is that? Shit. Holy fucking shit. What the fuck? Can you please describe what you see? It's some sort of fucking person face thing, and it's fucking looking right at me. Fuck, fuck, fuck. It's looking right at me. Is it moving? No. It's just staring at me. Fuck, fuck, fuck. It's creepy. Please approach and further illuminate the entity. Fuck, fuck, fuck. I don't want to fucking... The face jerks forward about 50 centimeters directly toward D-8432. Fuck, 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 redacted. D-8432 enters a panicked state and rapidly ascends SCP-087. D-8432 reaches the ground floor in 18 minutes, at which time he collapses and passes out. There is no sign of SCP-087-1. Review of the footage indicates an equal number of flights and steps ascending as descending. Audio of the crying and pleading remains at the same volume until the last flight, at which point it ceases. Medical reports indicate collapse was a result of the rapid ascension of the stairs, causing fatigue. Exploration 2. D-9035 is a 28-year-old African-American male of strong build. Psychological background indicates no abnormalities except an extreme hatred for women. Subject has an extensive record of data expunged. D-9035 is equipped with a 100-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours, a handheld camcorder fitted with a transmission stream, and an audio headset for communication with Dr. Redacted at control. D-9035 is also equipped with a backpack containing 100 small LED lights, with adhesive backs and battery lives of approximately 3 weeks. Lights turn on and off by compressing them. D-9035 shines the flood lamp down the first flight of stairs. Despite the extra wattage, the light does not illuminate beyond the 9th step. You want me to go down there, Doc? Please shine your flood lamp outside of SCP-087 to verify it is functioning properly. D9035 shines the light into the hallway. Comparison with the footage from exploration, I confirms it is indeed brighter. Thank you. Please continue to the first landing. Hey Doc, I know what you said and all, but I don't think I want to go there. Please continue to the first landing. Doc, look, The doctor interrupts. As per our earlier conversation, please continue to the first landing. D9035 pauses for 18 seconds, then descends 13 steps to the first landing and stops. Is that a kid? Please remove one of the adhesive lights and affix it to the wall on the landing. Doc, you hear that? Is that a kid down there? That's unconfirmed. Please affix an adhesive light to the wall and verify it functions. D9035 hesitates, then removes one of the lights from his backpack and adheres it to the wall. He presses on the light and it turns on. Please turn off your flood lamp. D9035 hesitates again before turning off the lamp. The LED light illuminates the landing, but does not extend beyond the first step either way. Thank you. You may turn your flood lamp back on. Please continue to descend. At each landing, affix an LED light to the wall and turn it on. If you notice anything unusual, please report it. D9035 turns the flood lamp back on, then descends the next flight of stairs. As he sets foot on the landing, the audio picks up sounds of pleading and crying, consistent with those of the first exploration. Can you still hear the previously reported audio? Yeah. She sounds about 150, maybe 200 meters down. Am I supposed to get her? Look, Doc, I don't do good with kids. Please place the light and continue down until you notice anything unusual. The subject adheres the light to the wall and turns it on, then continues to the next landing. He adheres the third LED light to the wall and turns it on. D9035 continues in this manner for the next 25 flights before stopping. I don't think I'm getting any closer to the kid, Doc. How far below would you estimate the source of the sound to be? Same as before. 150 to 200 meters down. Thank you. Please proceed. D9035 continues in the same fashion for the next 24 flights. At the 51st landing, he stops. Footage shows an arced gouge in the concrete wall, estimated to be approximately 50 centimeters long and 10 centimeters wide. The first step down from the landing appears to be completely smashed into rubble. You see that? Yes. Can you please describe what you see? Looks like something slashed at the wall and the step over here is all crumbled up and stuff. The slash mark looks really smooth. D9035 touches the gouge mark. Yeah, it's smooth. Feels like glass. Thank you. Please continue down. Look, Doc, I think I've gone far enough. Please continue, as per our agreement. I don't want to be doing this, agreement or not. Data expunged. D9035 steps over the destroyed step and continues down the staircase. Nothing is notable at the next landing. D9035 adheres an LED light to the wall and continues in the same fashion for another 38 flights. The sound of the crying and pleading still has not gotten closer. D9035 is on the 89th landing and 74 minutes have elapsed from the beginning of the exploration. Subject is estimated to be 350 meters below the initial platform. I feel like the kid's just trying to lure me down here, Doc. I think it's time for me to... D9035 stops talking and moving as the flood lamp illuminates SCP-087-1. The face is staring directly at D9035, again indicating awareness of the subject's presence. Although SCP-087-1 appears to be unmoving, its location is 38 flights below the initial encounter in Exploration 1, indicating it is mobile. Is there a reason you stopped? D9035, yelling, incomprehensible, SCP-087-1 jerks forward until it is approximately 90 centimeters from D9035. Subject turns and flees up the stairs. Please relax and calm down. Turn around. We need a closer look at the face. D9035 ignores Dr. Redacted and continues rapid ascent. He continues to scream incomprehensibly. D9035, can you hear me? Please slow down. D9035 is unresponsive and continues rapidly climbing the stairs. His screaming diminishes to babbling. After ascending 72 flights, D9035 collapses on the 17th landing. D9035, can you hear me? D9035 is unresponsive, but labored breathing can be heard through the audio feed. For the next 14 minutes, D9035 is immobile. The visual feed is black, and audio picks up only the subject's breathing and the continuous pleading coming from below. After 14 minutes and 32 seconds of unchanging visual and audio feeds, the sound of a rapid heartbeat not consistent with a human heartbeat and a low cracking noise is heard. 7 seconds later, D9035 gasps and revives, continuing his ascent of the stairs rapidly and wordlessly. The heartbeat and cracking cease, and nothing abnormal is detected on the visual feed. He remains unresponsive. D9035 exits SCP-087 and sits on the floor outside of the entrance. D9035 then enters a catatonic state from which he has not yet recovered. Exploration 3. D9884 is a 23-year-old female of average build and appearance. Psychological background indicates a history of depression. Subject has a minimal record of using excessive force to data expunged. D9884 is equipped with a 75-watt flood lamp with battery power capable of lasting 24 hours, a handheld camcorder fitted with a transmission stream, and an audio headset for communication with Dr. Redacted at control. D9884 is also equipped with a backpack containing 3.75 liters of water, 15 nutrient bars, and 1 thermal blanket. D9884 stands on the ground level landing of SCP-087. The flood lamp illuminates only the first 9 steps. LED lights placed on the wall during the last exploration are not visible. Please descend the first flight and examine the landing wall. D9884 descends 13 steps and stops at the landing. There is no trace of the LED light at the location footage from Exploration 2 indicates it was placed. Yeah, it's just a dirty concrete wall. There's like nothing on it. No, wait, it's a little bit sticky right here. D9884 indicates the spot on the wall. The LED light should have been located. There's a child crying down there. She's begging for help and crying. Thank you. Please continue down the steps until you notice anything unusual. D9884 descends. Upon reaching the next landing, audio of the crying child, consistent with the prior 2 explorations, is picked up. No LED lights appear to be present on any of the landing walls. D9884 continues with no incident until she reaches the 17th landing. Ew, there's something on the ground here, and it smells really bad. It's all sticky and stuck on my shoe. Ugh, it's so gross. Video feed confirms presence of substance occupying a space approximately 50 centimeters in diameter. Can you describe the scent? It kinda smells like old rusty metal and pee. Thank you. Please continue until you notice anything else. D9884 continues to the 51st landing without incident. The 51st landing remains unchanged from the previous expedition, and similar observations are made. D9884 is asked again to descend until anything unusual is noticed. Subject continues her descent until the 89th landing is reached. The video feed jerks and the subject yells, "Ah, fuck." There's a hole in the ground and I almost fell in. Video feed confirms the presence of a hole approximately 1 meter in diameter. The subject shines the floodlight down, revealing only blackness. Approximately 4 seconds pass, and a light of an indeterminate distance down the hole flicks on for approximately 2 seconds and then back off. There was a light down there. It's gone now, but it was on for like a second. Did you see it? Yes. Can you estimate the depth of this hole? No way. It's too deep. At least a kilometer. Like, way more than a kilometer. Thank you. Can you still hear the sounds of the child? Uh-huh. She still sounds far away. I don't feel like I'm getting any closer. It's like for every step I take, she takes one down. Please continue down until you encounter anything unusual. D9884 continues to descend SCP-087 for approximately an hour, covering an additional 164 flights. She stops to rest on the 253rd landing, consuming one nutrient bar and several gulps of water. D9884 is at an estimated 1.1 kilometers below the initial landing, yet the sound of the child has not changed in volume. After pausing for 4 minutes, D9884 resumes her descent, making no stops for another 216 flights. 1.5 hours later, D9884 is on the 469th landing, an approximate 1.8 kilometers below the ground level. I'm not getting anywhere. I think it's time I went back. I mean, going down is one thing, but this is a long climb back. You have been provided with food, water, and blankets to last you 24 hours. Please continue down. No, I think I'm going to go back up. D9884 turns toward the previous flight of stairs. I screams. CP087-1. The face is directly behind D9884, blocking her ascent. The face appears approximately 30 centimeters from the lens of the camera. Its eyes are fixed directly on the lens, this time looking not at the subject, but the person viewing the video feed. The video feed glitches and freezes for 4 seconds, accompanied by a static-like screeching noise from the audio feed. It then cuts to bumpy visuals of D9884 descending the stairs rapidly. It's been following me. This whole time it's been right behind me. Oh God, it's right behind me. It was looking right at me. Doctor redacted. Please do something. Please help me. Oh God. No, please get it away. Please no. Please, I knew it was following me. Help. Make it leave. Please no. It was looking at me. It was staring at me. It knew I was here. It's been watching me this whole time. Oh God, please help me. No, please, this continues in a similar fashion until the end. D9884 continues to scream and plead hysterically as she rapidly descends the staircase. The previously heard static-like screeching seems to overlay the audio feed, beneath which can still be heard the original sound of the crying child. Approximately 14 flights down, the video feed swings to show the area directly behind D9884. The face is now approximately 20 centimeters from the camera lens. It is not staring at the subject. Rather, it is fixated on the camera lens, giving the illusion it is making eye contact with those viewing the footage. It is important to note that since the sighting of SCP-087-1, the sound of the girl crying and pleading has been increasing in volume, indicating D9884 is nearing the source. After an approximate 150 panicked flights of descent with 3 visual confirmations of SCP-087-1, still in pursuit, D9884 trips and appears to fall unconscious. Audio feed indicates strong proximity to the source of the crying. The static and screeching noise continue. Video feed shows yet another descending flight of stairs, indicating D9884 still has not reached the base of the stairwell. 12 seconds of motionlessness pass before the face comes in full view of the camera, eye contact being made directly with the viewer. Audio and video feeds cut out and no connection is reestablished. SCP-939-1, 3, 19, 53, 89, 96, 98, 99, and 109 are kept in cell 1163-A or 1163-B, 10 meter by 10 meter by 3 meter containment chambers within Armed Biocontainment Area 14. Both cells are environmentally regulated and negatively pressurized, with walls constructed of reinforced concrete. Access to these cells is regulated by an outer decontamination chamber and inner gas-tight steel security doors. Observation windows are constructed of laminated ballistics glass 10 centimeters in thickness, protected by a 100 kV electrified mesh. Humidity is maintained at 100% at a temperature of 16 degrees C. Specimens are monitored at all times via infrared cameras. Level 4 authorization is required to access SCP-939, their containment areas, or the observation chambers. SCP-939-101 is dismembered and stored in cryogenic preservation tanks. 939-10, 1A to 939-101M within Bioresearch Area 12. Access to SCP-939-101 requires authorization by 2 Clearance Level 3 personnel, one of which must be present for all research and testing. The contents of only one 939-101 tank may be accessed at any given time. Core temperature of SCP-939-101 tissues must be monitored while removed from cryogenic preservation. Should core temperature exceed 10 degrees C, tissues are to be returned to their corresponding tank and all testing suspended for a period of 72 hours. Barring core temperature exceeding 10 degrees C, research of SCP-939-101 tissues may continue as long as its ramblings and pleas for release may be tolerated. Containment cells should be cleaned bi-weekly. While this takes place, SCP-939 specimens will be transferred to the adjacent cell. During this time, the cell's door and observation window must be inspected for damage and repaired or replaced accordingly. Heavy sedation of all SCP-939 is required before any interaction, including transfer between cells and experimentation, may take place. Level C hazmat gear is to be worn by personnel during interactions with SCP-939 specimens and in any areas which SCP-939 have been known to inhabit. Afterward, standard decontamination procedures are to be observed by all personnel involved to ensure no secondary spread of amnestic agents occurs. Following Incident ABCA 14939-3, all non-Class D personnel interacting with SCP-939 for any length of time are required to wear 2 waterproof electronic pulse monitors for the duration of such interaction. These pulse monitors will transmit to a wireless monitoring system independent of a facility's main power grid, with at least one backup power system on standby. Should both an individual's pulse monitors flatline or otherwise malfunction, the wearer will be presumed dead, personnel instructed to disregard all the wearer's subsequent vocalizations, and a breach of containment declared automatically. Security personnel responding to such a breach are likewise required to wear these pulse monitors. Additionally, all live SCP-939 must be implanted with subdermal tracking devices upon capture. Description: SCP-939 are endothermic, pack-based predators which display atrophy of various systems similar to troglodytic organisms. The skins of SCP-939 are highly permeable to moisture and translucent red, owing to a compound chemically similar to hemoglobin. SCP-939 average 2.2 meters tall standing upright and weigh an average of 250 kilograms, though weight is highly variable. Each of their 4 limbs end in 3-fingered claws with a 4th, opposable digit, and are covered in setae, which considerably augment climbing ability. Their heads are elongated, devoid of even vestigial eyes or eye sockets, and contain no brain casing. The jaws of SCP-939 are lined with red, faintly luminescent fang-like teeth, similar to those belonging to specimens of the genus Chauleotis, up to 6 centimeters in length, and encircled by heat-sensitive pit organs. Eye spots, sensitive to light and dark, run the length of their spine dorsal ridges. These spines may be up to 16 centimeters long and are believed to be sensitive to changes in air pressure and flow. SCP-939 do not possess many vital organ systems. Central and peripheral nervous systems, circulatory system, and digestive tract are all absent. SCP-939's respiratory system is atrophied and serves no apparent purpose beyond spreading AMNC-227. SCP-939 have no apparent physiological need to feed, nor any way to digest consumed tissue. Ingested material typically accumulates in the respiratory system of SCP-939 and is regurgitated once the amount is sufficient to markedly inhibit its function. Despite the absence of many vital organ systems, SCP-939 are capable of bearing live young. SCP-939's primary method of luring prey is the imitation of human speech in the voices of prior victims, though imitation of other species and active nocturnal hunts have been documented. SCP-939 vocalizations often imply significant distress. Whether SCP-939 understand their vocalizations or are repeating previously heard phrases is the subject of ongoing study. How SCP-939 acquire voices is not currently understood. Specimens have been documented imitating victims despite never hearing the victim speak. Analysis of SCP-939 vocalizations cannot distinguish between SCP-939 and samples of known victims' voices. The use of biometric voice recognition security or identification systems at any installation housing SCP-939 is strongly discouraged for this reason. Prey is usually killed with a single bite to the cranium or neck. Bite forces have been measured in excess of 35 megapascals. SCP-939 exhale minute traces of an aerosolized Class C amnestic, designated AMNC-227. AMNC-227 causes temporary anterograde amnesia, inhibiting memory formation for the duration of exposure, plus an average of 30 minutes. It is colorless, odorless, and tasteless, with an estimated ECT 50 for inhalation of 0.0015 milligrams, Min/M3. In well-ventilated or open-air environments, risk of exposure to ECT 50 is greatly reduced but not negligible. AMNC-227 is typically undetectable in the bloodstream 60 minutes following cessation of exposure. Reported sensations of disorientation and mild hallucinations immediately following removal from environments saturated with the agent are similar to recreational use of numerous psychoactive substances and easily mistaken as such. On September 25, 1992, SCP-939-1 gave birth following a gestation period of roughly 12 months. Litter SCP-939-A contained 6 specimens, numbered SCP-939-A1 to SCP-939-A6. SCP-93-9-A1, A4, and A5 were male, while A3 and A6 were female. SCP-939-A2 was stillborn and immediately cannibalized by SCP-939-1. SCP-939-1 made no attempts to interfere with confiscation of its offspring. Vivisection of SCP-939-A1, A3, A4, and A5 found them to be morphologically and genotypically indistinguishable from healthy human infants. 1. The remains of SCP-939-A1 and SCP-939-A3 are kept preserved in biological materials storage units. 939-0, 2, 6C, and 939-0, 2, 6D, respectively, within Bio-Research Area 12. Remains of SCP-93, 9A4, and SCP-939-A5 were incinerated. SCP-939-A6 will be transferred to Redacted for observation as it matures. It will undergo monthly physical examination, supplemented with any additional measures deemed necessary. Note: 0316, 1997. After overhearing numerous conversations between personnel, SCP-939-A6 has come to believe its name is Keter. Given the marked positive effect on its mood, staff are advised to neither encourage nor discourage this assumption. Both its mental and physical development have remained consistent with human norms. Date: 01/09/2001. At approximately 2000 hours, SCP-939-A6 began acting increasingly unsettled. When questioned, it reported a sense of malaise. Breathing was observed to be rapid and shallow. SCP-939. A6 was escorted to the medical ward for further examination. Heart rate was measured to be erratic, averaging 190 beats per minute. No further anomalies were observed. SCP-939-A6 was administered a benzodiazepine and returned to containment. Probable panic attack, trigger undetermined. Date: 01/10/2001. 10/2001 at approximately 0430 hours SCP-939. A6 reported the same symptoms, accompanied by a mild headache and aversion to light. Examination returned identical results to the previous day, SCP-939. A6 instructed to rest, administered a sedative, and returned to containment. Date: 01/24/2001. Symptoms outlined above persisted for 2 weeks before intensifying. SCP-939. A6 destroyed the lighting fixture in its enclosure and was found to have assumed the fetal position underneath its bed at 0140 hours. A6 staunchly resisted leaving its chamber, requiring it be carried to Area Redacted Medical Ward. It complained of a severe headache, intense aversion to light, hypersensitivity to auditory stimuli, intense chest and abdominal pain, and uncomfortable warmth, commenting that it hurt too much to cry. A6's core body temperature measured to be 41.2 degrees C. Technicians were unable to locate a pulse. MRI indicated redacted. A reinforced concrete containment cell was immediately prepared for SCP-939-A6. The cell's lighting was dimmed and a large basin full of water provided at its request. Date: 01/26/2001, SCP-939. A6 immersed itself in the provided water basin and remained inactive for a period of approximately 41 hours, at which point it began violently tearing at its skin. It displayed a considerable amount of distress upon realizing its skin was sloughing off, but appeared unable to stop. At 22:36 hours, Dr. Redacted reported SCP-939. A6's head detached itself. By 22:40 hours, it appeared morphologically identical to, albeit much smaller than, SCP-939-1. The following is an audio log of SCP-939-1-01 recorded on 05/22/2004. Excuse me, mister? Why are we here? It's bitterly cold, and we would like to go home now. We're very late for our bedtime, and we're very sorry. We didn't mean it. Have you seen our pictures? We like drawing. Daddy hung them on the wall, except for sometimes when the others in white coats took them away. Daddy told us not to draw pictures like those. They made him sad, so we did our best to draw other things. But sometimes we forgot. Sometimes Daddy hid the pictures or ripped them up. He told us it wasn't that he didn't like them. He said it was to keep us safe from the mean doctors in the white coats, but then the doctors took Daddy away. They made us get shots and told us to forget about Daddy, but we're scared of needles without Daddy around. We didn't forget Daddy. Daddy forgot us, though. We think it was the doctor's fault. Daddy wouldn't forget about us, would he? They gave us a fake Daddy and told us it was real Daddy, but we knew better. The doctors made us get more shots. They kept telling us fake Daddy was real Daddy, but they couldn't fool us. We told them it was wrong to lie, just like Daddy told us. And then they stopped lying. They made us be by ourselves, but they gave us paper and pencils and paints and told us we could draw whatever we wanted, so we did. Sometimes we drew Daddy. Sometimes we drew what Daddy told us not to draw. The doctors took all our pictures. Sometimes the doctors in the white coats and the people with the big black shirts with lots of pockets and helmets that carried bent windows and... what did Daddy call them? I forgot. They walked with us down the hall for our checkups. We didn't like those. Sometimes we had to lay in a dark place and be really, really still. Daddy would tell us stories. We didn't always understand them, but we liked them anyway. There were stories about places that didn't have ceilings, where up was forever and the ground wasn't white. We think it's silly. Everywhere has ceilings, doesn't it? After the doctors took Daddy away, we didn't get to hear stories anymore. Then we didn't feel good. The doctors made us get lots of checkups, and we think they got scared, so we got scared too. We had a really bad headache, and the lights bothered us, and so did noises. We wanted to find lots of cool water away from the bright lights until our headache went away. They let us be in the dark and gave us lots of water, but the water made us itch all over. When we scratched, sometimes our skin came off. We were so scared. We kept asking for Daddy, but he never showed up. Eventually, we didn't have any skin left, but it was okay because we didn't need it anymore. We stopped itching after that. The lights stopped bothering us so much, and the headache went away after our old head came off. Lights still bother us, but not as much as they did. We don't see right anymore. We got so hungry. It was bad, but we ate our old skin and our old head. It tasted good, but it was still bad. We were still hungry after that and asked for food. They gave us food, even our favorites, but none of it tasted right to us. All that tasted good was one piece of meat. We asked for more of that. They locked 2 people in the dark with us. We asked them not to, but they didn't listen to us. We weren't hungry for a while after that, but we're hungry now. We're very sorry. We know lying is wrong. We didn't mean it. End log. Item number: SCP-2317. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-2317 is to be secured at Containment Area 1, 79 in a reinforced 3 meter by 3 meter by 3 meter containment chamber. Armed guards are to be in place at all times in order to prevent unauthorized access to the facility. All personnel assigned to SCP-2317 must rotate out for 1 month of psychological counseling after 2 months on site. Personnel assigned to SCP-2317 must undergo heavy psychological testing before being cleared to enter the site. Individuals must score at least 72 points on the Milgram Obedience Examination, be unmarried, have no offspring, and express nothing less than total loyalty to the Foundation. While on site, individuals assigned to SCP-2317 will be issued concealing helmets with integrated voice changers to protect their identity. On-site staff are not to remove said uniforms in the presence of other staff members. Off-duty hours are to be spent in private quarters alone. 1 staff member with security clearance, 4 2,317ths will be assigned each month as Class D personnel in order to act as assistant to the primary celebrant. Personnel without security clearance of level 4 or higher will be told that the assistant is a Class D personnel chosen from the normal pool of Class D candidates. All persons directly involved with Procedure 2, 20 Calabasas are to be informed of this fact. No personnel shall be authorized to assist with Procedure 2, 20 Calabasas without first being clearly briefed that the assistant is not, in fact, a Class D personnel and should not be terminated in the event that they disobey direct orders from the guards. Description: SCP-2317 is a wooden door and frame originally constructed as a basement door for a 19th century Massachusetts brownstone. Upon opening the door, any person stepping through the doorframe will be transported to an alternate reality. Exploration of the alternate reality, SCP-2317-Prime, is limited, but the area directly accessible through SCP-2317 is a salt pan several kilometers in radius. A circle of 7 pillars, SCP-2317-A through SCP-2317-G, are positioned in a 10-meter diameter circle approximately 10 meters directly in front of SCP-2317. Each pillar is approximately 1 meter in diameter and 7 meters tall, constructed of marble and engraved with a series of intricate bas reliefs. The art style of the engravings do not correspond to that of any known modern, historic, or prehistoric civilization. 2317-A and G extend 200 meters below the surface of the sand and into SCP-2317-H. 2317-H is a spherical space 100 kilometers in diameter, located directly underneath SCP-2317-A and G, lined with the same stone used to construct 2317-A and G. Contained within SCP-23, 17H is SCP-2317-K, hereafter referred to as Entity. The following information has been inferred through seismic analysis and ground-penetrating radar, as well as direct observation. Entity appears to be an obese, human-like creature of immense proportions. Estimated height, if fully erect, is over 200 kilometers. Horns resembling tree branches sprout from its head, which lacks a lower jaw. Entire body is covered in millions of overlapping plate-like scales. 7 heavy hooks are embedded in the entity's back, each one attached to a heavy steel chain connected to the lower end of one of the 7 pillars embedded in the ceiling of the chamber. At the time of the writing of this document, 6 of the pillars or chains have been broken or damaged, and only 1 chain remains intact. Addendum 2317 -1 Procedure 2 20 Calabasas. Procedure 2 20 Calabasas is a ritual to be performed at solar noon each day, defined as the moment when the sun reaches its height over SCP-2317. Performing Procedure 2 20 Calabasas requires the following: 2 armed Foundation security personnel with security clearance of level 3 or higher, hereafter referred to as guards, 1 Foundation personnel with security clearance of level 4, hereafter referred to as celebrant, 1 Class D personnel, as specified under Special Containment Procedures, hereafter referred to as assistant, 1 live male Gallus domesticus, preferably caged to prevent complications during transport to SCP-2317-Prime, hereafter referred to as chicken, 1 obsidian-edged knife, hereafter referred to as blade, 1 silver aspergillum and aspersorium, filled with at least 500 cc's of holy water blessed by a priest of Abrahamic faith, 1 kiloton-level nuclear device, to be detonated in case of catastrophic containment failure. Celebrant, guards, and assistant open SCP-2317, step through and enter SCP-2317 Prime. Assistant will enter first, followed by guards, followed by celebrant. Guards will, at all times, maintain situational awareness of assistant and should be prepared to prevent escape with deadly force. Beginning with the pillar closest to and in line with SCP-2317 Celebrant Circumambulates SCP-2317-A through SCP-2317-G, proceeding counterclockwise at an even and measured pace. At every other step, Celebrant will scatter holy water, using the aspergillum and aspersorium, in the direction of the circle's center. Upon completing 1 circumambulation of SCP-2317-A and G, Celebrant scatters holy water over the head of the assistant and recites the following phrase: 7 seals, 7 rings, 7 thrones, for the Scarlet King. Celebrant then moves to a safe distance away from assistant, who will take the obsidian knife and use it to kill the chicken provided as sacrifice. Blood will be drained from the chicken and added to the aspersorium, then stirred to mix with the holy water already contained within. Assistant then circumambulates SCP-2317-A and G in a clockwise direction, scattering the mixture of blood and holy water in the direction of the circle's center. Upon completing 1 circumambulation of SCP-2317-A and G, Assistant walks to the center of the circle of stones and pours the remaining mixture of blood and water onto the discolored patch of salt and sand in the center, while reciting the following phrase: "Blood for the old gods, water for the new king." All materials are gathered up, the obsidian knife is secured, and all personnel return through SCP-2317, which is subsequently closed. Failure at any point to properly perform Procedure 2 20 Calabasas may result in an XK class end of the world scenario. Should any mishap or failure occur, all personnel are to return immediately through SCP-2317, closing the door behind them. The containment chamber will be immediately locked down, and a Level 2 emergency declared and reported to the O5 Council. Further instructions will be provided to on-site personnel according to Emergency Order Zachariah, and may include detonation of on-site nuclear warhead. Addendum 2317-2. History: SCP-2317 was first discovered in 1922 by data expunged. Object was subsequently moved to what was then called Provisional Containment Area 17. Object was moved to Containment Area 179 in 1982, where it remains as of the writing of this article. When initially discovered, 4 of the 7 chains were broken and 3 were intact. The breaking of the 5th chain in Redacted corresponded directly to a redacted event in our world. The 6th chain, which broke in Redacted, was also coincident with a much more severe Redacted event, eventually resulting in the deaths of 2 million persons. Analysis of supplementary texts retrieved at the time of containment pointed to Procedure 220 Calabasas as an effective means of maintaining containment until an effective means of repairing or reattaching said chains can be discovered. Containment procedures were modified to incorporate Procedure 220 Calabasas, as records show that the sequence of redacted events shows an exponential increase in lethality. It can be extrapolated that failure of the final chain, SCP-231-7G, would result in an XK-class end of the world scenario. For this reason, every possible effort is to be made to ensure a successful Procedure 220 Calabasas. Further information on SCP-2317 is restricted to the Overseer Council. SCP-049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 0-2 at Site-19. SCP-049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. While SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender, L-multifida, has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calmed, SCP-049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from SCP-049's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Description: SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time 1, and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French too. While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-049's victims have invariably been inconclusive. SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. While these surgeries are not always successful, They often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little, and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked or, if directed to, by SCP-049. SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. CP-049 was discovered during the investigation of a series of unknown disappearances in the town of Montauban in southern France. During a raid on a local home, investigators found several instances of SCP-0492, as well as SCP-049, while law enforcement personnel engaged the hostile 049. 2 instances, SCP-049 was noted as watching the engagement and taking notes in its journal. After all of the 049, 2 instances were dispatched, SCP-049 willingly entered Foundation custody. The following is an interview with SCP-049 hosted by Dr. Raymond Ham at Site-85, in French. So then, how should we begin? An introduction? Is that French? Can we get a translator? In English, the King's English. No need for translation, sir. I can speak it well enough. Good. My name is Dr. Raymond Ham and a doctor. A like-minded individual, no doubt. Wherein is your specialty, sir? Cryptobiology. Why? SCP-049 laughs, stating, a medical man, such as myself. Wonders abound, and here I worried I had been abducted by common street thugs. Looks around the room. This place, then. This is your laboratory? I had wondered, as clean as it is, and with such little trace of the pestilence here. The pestilence? What do you mean? The scourge. The great dying. Come now, you know, taps Temple furiously. What is it they call it? No matter. The pestilence, yes. It abounds outside these walls, you know. So many have succumbed, and many more will continue to, until such time as a perfect cure can be developed. Leans back in its chair. Fortunately, I am very close. It is my duty in life to rid the world of it, you see. The cure to end all cures. When you say the great dying, are you talking about the bubonic plague? I don't know what that is. I see. Right? Well, the entities our agents encountered at that house, they were dead when you encountered them, yes? And you reanimated them? In a manner of speaking. You see things too simply, Doctor. Expand your horizons. Life and death, sickness and health. These are amateur terms for amateur physicians. There is only one ailment that exists in the world of men, and that is the pestilence, and nothing else. Make no mistake, they were very ill, all of them. You think you cured those people? Indeed. My cure is most effective. The things we recovered were not human. Yes, well, it is not a perfect cure, but that will come with time. And further experimentation. I have spent a lifetime developing my methods, Dr. Ham, and will spend a lifetime more if necessary. Now, we have wasted too much time. There is work to do. I will require a laboratory of my own, one where I can continue my research unimpeded. And assistance, of course, though I can provide those on my own in time. SCP-049 laughs. I don't think our organization will be willing to nonsense. We are all men of science. Fetch your coat and show me to my quarters, Doctor. Gestures with pointed stick. Our work begins now. End log. Interviewer's note. While SCP-049 is capable of communicating in a very human way, there is a strange sense of unease that one experiences when in its presence. Make no mistake, there is something very uncanny about this entity indeed. Additionally, we've confiscated that pointed stick that SCP-049 keeps waving around. Part of this was due to standard confiscation protocols for the possessions of anomalies, and part because 049 really is a menace swinging it around like he does. The entity was displeased at first, but after we made some concessions in providing it with test subjects, which are admittedly more for the benefit of our own research, it warmed up to the idea. Observation log. While in containment at Site-19, SCP-049 has spent a considerable amount of time studying and performing surgery on the various mammalian corpses it has been provided. SCP-049 will routinely spend several days performing surgery, and then, regardless of whether or not the corpse becomes an instance of SCP-049-2, spending several more days documenting its findings in a thick leather journal stored within its doctor's bag. SCP-049 will often seek to share its findings with members of Foundation staff. The following is a log of several occasions during which SCP-049 was observed operating on a mammalian corpse. Preface: a test subject, D-85-123, was introduced into SCP-049's containment cell. The entity expressed sincere gratitude towards all members of the containment and research staff. Observation notes: SCP-049 began by asking D-85-123 several standard medical questions as it began removing tools from its bag. Shortly after finishing its preparations, SCP-049 quickly closed the distance between the two, killing the subject with a touch to its throat. Afterwards, SCP-049 made a number of considerable alterations to the basic structure of the subject's corpse, often introducing fluids from within its bag into the subject by way of a hand-powered pump and copper tubing. The resulting 049-2 instance became animated, flailing, and grasping at the walls of the chamber with a number of manufactured limbs while moaning out of an oblong orifice now present in its sternum. During this time, SCP-049 was observed taking notes of the instance in its journal, and remarking to the watching research staff about the efficacy of its cure. Security personnel entered the chamber to move SCP-049 back to containment, and were attacked by the instance. The security team dispatched the 049-2 instance, and SCP-049 returned to containment with no resistance, stating that it was pleased with the results. Observational log. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased goat. SCP-049 expressed gratitude at the provision. Observation notes: SCP-049 operated on the goat corpse for several days, eventually resulting in an instance of SCP-049-2. SCP-049 expressed pleasure in this outcome, though admitted the disease was still in its nascent stage. My veterinarian practice is rudimentary, but the patient responded well to the procedure. Observational log. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased orangutan. SCP-049 expressed noted gratitude at the provision, due to the similarities between the orangutan and common human physiology. Observation notes: SCP-049 spent several days operating on the orangutan, reanimating it several times. However, SCP-049 appeared to be discontent with the results it experienced, returning to the creature 3 times after its initial reanimation for additional work. After it was unable to reanimate the corpse a 5th time, SCP-049 turned the corpse over to Foundation staff for incineration, stating, "I have learned so much from this, though I fear my early optimism was misplaced. I hadn't yet come across such a stumbling block on my road to the cure. More subjects like this would do a great deal in advancing my research." Observational log. Preface: SCP-049 was provided the corpse of a recently deceased bovine. SCP-049 expressed mild annoyance at the provision, though accepted it nonetheless for. Observation notes: SCP-049 spent several days operating on the bovine corpse, breaking only to dine on a requested dinner of thin crackers, salted pork, and hard cheese. Beginning first by embalming the corpse, SCP-049 was observed producing a number of long syringes from its bag, each containing a different dark, viscous fluid. SCP-049 described these fluids as essences of the humors, and elaborated by saying, "The pestilence may bring about a systemic imbalance. In such a case, before true healing can begin, one must find the humors in balance, or the body will reject the cure." 6. Over the next few days, SCP-049 spent a considerable amount of time adjusting the organs of the bovine corpse with a number of large metal instruments. After 8 days, SCP-049 produced a lightning rod, which Dr. Ham exchanged for an electric cattle prod attached to an extension cord, and struck the corpse in several locations. This action seemingly had the effect of reanimating the bovine, which once again became ambulatory, despite the inversion of the head and reorientation of its limbs. Follow-up interview. "We've watched you work for several weeks now, and honestly, I'm not sure I understand what you're doing. Can you describe your process in detail?" "Oh goodness no, the process is most intensive. As I said to your assistant, the best instruction you will find about my methods are here in my journals. As I have kept exhaustive records of my work there, I see. My concern, Doctor, is that we still don't understand what you're seeking to cure, or how it manifests, or how turning these creatures into quasi-living mindless drones helps in that effort. You do not understand the pestilence, even after all this time? Doctor, it is an unspeakable horror, one that has shown its true face many times before and will again. I find myself blessed with the wisdom and good senses needed to root it out and destroy it, but many like yourself cannot. It is a cruel judgment, I fear, to be at the mercy of a disease you cannot fully comprehend. That still doesn't answer my question. How is your cure any kind of cure at all? Growing suddenly agitated. It is a cure. You may laugh at my efforts if you please, but do not besmirch the good name of scientific progress that has developed this great mercy. What you so short-sightedly see here is a life better than any this creature could have hoped for, stricken as it was with pestilence. This creature is now clean, unable to spread the pestilence and free from the terror it would have experienced otherwise. This is hardly a creature at all, Doctor. It's not even very agitated. Do not jape with me, sir. You and your colleagues are like so many others, unable to look past minor setbacks to see the salvation taking place before your very eyes. Do you wait to remove rotten timbers until the hall collapses on top of you? No, you find them, and you pull them out and replace them with those untouched by rot. And most of all, you do not simply mock the structure because it now looks different to you. It is strong. It is free of disease. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to agitate you. I'm just trying to understand. Deep breath. Yes, well, do mind your words in the future, Doctor. I am a professional, but even professionals may feel the bite of pride in dealing with criticism of their masterpiece. I will forgive this as an act of good faith between colleagues. Is there anything else I can help you with? Pauses, looking away from Dr. Ham. No, that will be all. Another test subject on the usual schedule. You know my preference of subjects with more human anatomies. End log. Attending researcher's note. SCP-049 does seem to genuinely want to help other humans, though it has not yet been able to provide a concrete example of what exactly it is trying to save us all from. I have watched it now over several weeks, and while the outcomes do not seem to ever change, SCP-049 continues to claim that it is growing closer to its perfect cure. I think the entity may be more aware of the reality of these outcomes than it would like us to think. Addendum 049.3, April 16th, 2017. Incident. Starting shortly after SCP-049's initial containment, Dr. Ham conducted a number of interviews with the subject regarding its anomalous properties, and over time began to note its displeasure with its subjects, and the SCP-049-2 instances. This continued for a period of several months. during which SCP-049 never exhibited any aggressive behaviors. On April 16, 2017, as Dr. Ham was entering SCP-049's test chamber to conduct another routine interview, the entity began to grow anxious and asked Dr. Ham if he was feeling well. Following protocol, Dr. Ham reminded SCP-049 that the interview was required, after which the entity became hostile and attacked Dr. Ham, killing him. Due to a lapse in security protocol, and because Dr. Ham did not activate the in-chamber emergency system, Dr. Ham's corpse was not discovered until 3 hours later, by which point SCP-049 had converted it into an instance of SCP-049-2. In the aftermath of this incident, SCP-049 was interviewed by Dr. Theron Sherman. Begin log. I need you to explain yourself. No response. SCP-049. You are being directed to explain your actions, and I will remind you that failure to cooperate will result in further restrictions during your containment. Pauses. My actions do not need to be explained. You killed Raymond Ham and then butchered him until he... Interrupting, angrily, not dead. No, not dead. He is cured. Cured? Cured of what? The pestilence, sir. I had thought you at least would realize what luck it is I detected it before. Interrupting. What pestilence? You keep going on and on about this pestilence, but you have not once been able to properly identify this disease. What could you have possibly seen in him today that you had not seen so many times before? That it would be worth his life? He pauses. The pestilence presents and progresses in unforeseeable fashions and has a queer way of creeping into the unprepared, and breathing becomes heavier. Call it what you want, doctor. It was a mercy I did to him. He is cured. Your cure cost Ray his life. No good, sir, I have saved it. You would allow this world to slip back into the despair of disease and death, ignoring that I have created a miracle and... Talking over SCP-049. What disease? What pestilence? He was a healthy man. He was a good doctor. I'm offering it freely to the afflicted. You are not worth this argument, sir. You are short-sighted and foolish. Dr. Ham was sick and I... Breath catches. I cured him. I am the only one who can do this. My work must continue. There is so much still to learn, so much to... I've had enough of this. Consider your allowances revoked. Welcome to Containment 049. Away from Mike. We're done here. Do and others can be saved. Even you, though you do not deserve it, might be saved. I can save them all. I can cast down this plague once and for all. I can do this. Only me. I... Labored breathing. I saved him. Dr. Ham, I cured him. He was sick. I know he was sick. I know he was. And you are all sick. But I can save you. I can save all of you. Because I am the cure. End log. Addendum 049.4. Post-incident report interview. The following interview is an excerpt from the April 16, 17049 incident report. The interview was conducted by Dr. Elijah Itkin and took place 3 weeks after the start of the initial investigation. Begin log, SCP-0. 49. We are conducting this interview to close out our investigation of your actions taken on April 16th that resulted in the death of a staff member. Do you have any comments to make? Only that I look forward to the day when you will allow me to resume my work. I have spent the last few weeks compiling my notes and constructing a new theory for how the pestilence was able to infect someone in such an insidious manner that I nearly couldn't detect it. Have you experienced any remorse for your actions? For the death of Dr. Ham? Waves his hand. Ah, yes. Well, the death of a colleague is always regrettable, but in the face of the pestilence, we must be swift, Doctor, and act without hesitation. Dr. Sherman noted in his report that you seemed to be mournful during your initial interview. Mourn... Pauses. Perhaps. I had not thought that... It is lamentable that a fellow doctor became infected, but the work continues. Regrettable as it was, Dr. Ham's death provided important insight. Living human subjects are the only way to proceed forward, I am decided. My cure is of little use on dead flesh, and I have gleaned all I can from your generous supply of corpses. My desires turn towards tending to those still living who suffer from the disease. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Laughs. Oh, doctor, I wouldn't be so sure. End log. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than the 3rd of May enter at any time, and the door is to be relocked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. Description: Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. Line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull, or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, personnel are to observe Class 4 hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stone originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. Origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. A monstrous entity named SCP-682, also known as the Hard-to-Destroy Reptile, resides in a containment chamber filled with acid. SCP-682 is a large reptilian creature with incredible strength, speed, and resilience. It possesses a profound hatred for all life and is known for its remarkable ability to regenerate and adapt to any form of damage, making it nearly impossible to kill. Dr. Kowalski, a seasoned researcher at the Foundation, has been assigned to SCP-682's containment team. Despite his vast experience with dangerous SCPs, Dr. Kowalski finds SCP-682 particularly challenging. The creature's unpredictable behavior and its ability to rapidly heal and evolve in response to any containment measures have led to numerous containment breaches, resulting in heavy casualties. One day, during a routine containment check, SCP-682 breaches its containment chamber. The facility goes into lockdown as the alarms blare. Dr. Kowalski, along with the response team, rushes to the scene. They find the creature rampaging through the corridors, its body having adapted to neutralize the acid that usually keeps it subdued. The team employs various tactics, from heavy artillery to experimental weapons, but SCP-682 proves resilient to every attack. It even develops resistances on the spot, rendering the weapons ineffective. The situation becomes dire when SCP-682 starts heading towards the surface, threatening to unleash its fury upon the world. In a desperate attempt, Dr. Kowalski suggests luring SCP-682 back to its chamber using a piece of technology that mimics the sounds of other SCP creatures, which SCP-682 instinctively hunts. The plan is risky, but it's their only chance. As SCP-682 follows the sounds back to its chamber, the team quickly repairs the containment protocols and floods the chamber with a more potent acid mixture. With SCP-682 recontained, the facility breathes a sigh of relief. However, the aftermath leaves the staff shaken. Dr. Kowalski reflects on the near disaster, realizing that as long as SCP-682 exists, no one is truly safe. The incident strengthens his resolve to find a permanent solution to contain or neutralize this indestructible nightmare. The story ends with Dr. Kowalski staring into the observation window of SCP-682's chamber, the creature's eyes glaring back with unyielding malice, a grim reminder of the ongoing battle between human ingenuity and an unkillable force of nature. SCP-106 is to be contained in a sealed container, comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 36 mm of empty space. Support struts between layers are to be randomly spaced. Container is to remain suspended no less than 60 cm from any surface by ELO/YOD electromagnetic supports. Secondary containment area is to be comprised of 16 spherical cells, each filled with various fluids and a random assembly of surfaces and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems, capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 80,000 lumens of light instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell surfaces, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing KIA. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note: continued research and observation have shown that when faced with highly complex random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 can be confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structure. SCP-106 has also shown an aversion to direct sudden light. This is not manifested in any form of physical damage, but a rapid exit to the pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. These observations, along with those of lead aversion and liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. Description: SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid, with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10-25 years of age bracket. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black, mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a predigestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples: entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for SCP-106 or a simple lair created by SCP-106. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms with data expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting, recapture, data expunged. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of SCP-106, SCP is to be reviewed every 3 months or during a post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on SCP-106. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown. However, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. SCP-106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. SCP-106 will attack and collect multiple prey items during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in the pocket dimension for extended periods of time. SCP-106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey items during an event. The inner dimension accessed by SCP-106 appears to be only accessible by SCP-106. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate inside this dimension, though recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that SCP-106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control of time, space, and perception inside this dimension. In the event of a breach event by SCP-106, a human within the 10-25 years of age bracket will be prepped for recall, with the compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lure subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. Lure subject will then be placed in the prepped cell, and the sound emitted by said subject will be transmitted over the site public address system. SCP-106 will typically begin to gravitate toward the lure subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is to be administered to the lure subject at 20-minute intervals until SCP-106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of major breach events. Deep beneath the Bay of Bengal, where the sun's rays fail to penetrate, a team of SCP Foundation divers made an astonishing discovery. Amidst the dark, crushing depths, they encountered SCP-3000, an enormous serpentine creature, lurking in the abyss. This gargantuan entity, resembling a colossal eel, stretched as far as the eye could see. Its skin was a glossy obsidian black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it, making it nearly invisible in the murky depths. SCP-3000 is not just a marvel of size. It possesses anomalous properties that defy the very fabric of nature. Those who gaze upon it or linger in its presence experience severe memory alterations and cognitive breakdowns. The Foundation quickly classified it as thaumiel, recognizing both its danger and potential utility. Its most unsettling feature is the secretion of a thick, black substance, later identified as Y909. This compound has the extraordinary ability to erase or alter memories, a property of immense interest to the Foundation. Containment of such a colossal being proved impossible in the traditional sense. Instead, the Foundation established an exclusion zone around SCP-3000, deploying submarines and remote-operated vehicles to monitor and study it. A specialized team, known as Task Force Y909, was assembled to collect samples of the creature's secretions. The process, both perilous and ethically controversial, was deemed necessary for the Foundation's memory-affecting technologies. The extraction of Y909 brought forth a moral quandary. The substance, while invaluable, came at the cost of the divers' sanity. Those exposed to SCP-3000's effects often returned with fragmented memories, their minds a jigsaw puzzle of real and imagined experiences. The Foundation faced a dilemma: the immense benefits of Y909 against the ethical cost of its collection. The decision to continue was not taken lightly, highlighting the Foundation's constant balance between safeguarding humanity and crossing moral boundaries. SCP-3000 remains an enigmatic titan of the deep. Its origins, purpose, and full capabilities are shrouded in mystery. It is a reminder of the vast, unexplored spaces of our world, where unknown horrors and wonders lie in wait. As the Foundation continues its watch over SCP-3000, the abyssal Leviathan slumbers in the deep, a sleeping giant of the ocean's darkest reaches, a creature as fascinating as it is terrifying. Due to the vast area of infection SCP-610 covers, containment is impossible. Isolation of the area has proved far more effective, and permission has been granted by the Russian government to establish a perimeter to keep people out of these areas under the guise of military operations. Should any organism displaying traits consistent with SCP-610 be sighted near this perimeter, then the established protocol requires it be engaged at range with small arms until immobile, then dispatched using incendiary weapons and munitions from as great a distance as possible. Any living thing coming in physical contact with an organism infected with SCP-610 is considered expendable and is to be immediately terminated and incinerated. Any persons coming within 3 meters of SCP-610 infected life are to immediately withdraw from the area, be isolated from the rest of their team, and subjected to medical examination using only remote techniques to determine if infection has occurred and appropriate steps taken based on that determination. At present, the known infection vectors for SCP-610 spread seem to be focused on physical contact. Drone movements within heavily infected areas have returned air samples containing minute particulate, which when exposed to organic compounds will result in the spread of SCP-610. The results of these particular tests have revealed that most require several days to manifest, if at all, with the exception of direct contact with exposed lung and liver tissue. These particular tests show a rapid rate of growth, which requires incineration of the testing environment no more than 24 hours after initial exposure, with even a 2-hour mishap risking a compromised facility event. Given that this kind of rapid growth only occurs in organic material existing outside the human body, this form of infection is currently considered a minor concern. These peculiarities have given rise to a series of questions regarding the possible origin of the infection, in conjunction with the failed data expunged. Containment protocol remains at a scorched earth policy at this time, and no concern for transmission via water or air at infection parameters exists barring situational changes in the field. Initial reports of SCP-610 came direct from the Russian government through undisclosable channels. These reports consisted primarily of disappearances of farmers in the region and were not considered until the local police, followed by the regional police, and finally a government-dispatched agent all failed to report in within a 72-hour period. A small military contingent was dispatched to the area and quickly withdrew, at which point the Foundation was contacted to investigate. The area SCP-610 affects is close to Lake Baikal in southern Siberia. Areas of known infection are marked on a map provided to us here. Containment perimeters are marked in blue surrounding these infection areas, and as of present, no further locations have been identified. Incursions into the perimeter must be reported prior to conducting, confirmed during exploration, and debriefed on immediately following return. SCP-610 appears to be a contagious skin disease at first, with symptoms including rash, itching, and increased skin sensitivity. Within 3 hours, the disease will cause blemishes resembling heavy scar tissue to form in the chest and arm areas, spreading to the legs and back within an additional hour, consuming the victim completely within 5 hours. Exposure to higher temperatures vastly decreases the time for the contagion to spread, and complete infections have been recorded occurring in as little as 5 minutes. After the completion of the infection occurs, the victim's life functions will cease for approximately 3 minutes, after which time they will restart at 2-3 times the activity rate of a normal human. Following this, the scar tissue on the victims will start to move of its own accord and grow at a rapid rate. Normal human features start to disappear at this point under the infection, and the path of mutation appears to be largely random. Subjects observed in this stage of infection have been recorded as growing 3 or more limbs of a type such as arms or legs. The head may become misshapen and elongate or widen out, and parts of the subject may split open from which additional branches of flesh will grow. The duration of this stage of infection is unknown, and not all subjects appear to progress to the later stages. Will cease moving and place itself in a location it deems suitable where it roots itself. The fleshy growth on the victim will then begin to spread itself across all surrounding objects and consume them. Such objects do not spread the infection as living creatures do, however, and the effect of prolonged contact with these objects is recorded later in this document. It is assumed that this behavior is to create an area hospitable to continued growth of the other infected. Observation of life infected by SCP-610 by staff is impossible. Those infected with the disease immediately seek out aid as natural human impulse, resulting in unintended infections. Those infected past the scar tissue phase actively and aggressively attempt to infect anyone approaching them within an undefined area. It has been established that should an infected be capable of sight and observe an uninfected, it will proceed toward them. If the infected has lost the ability of sight, a range of approximately 30 meters is considered safe. Observation of SCP-610 infected settlements has been established using artificial methods such as remote robots. The data returned from these observations, coupled with the openly aggressive nature of the infected to attempt to spread SCP-610, has resulted in the Keter classification. However, so long as nothing is allowed to enter or leave the infected areas, it is considered a neutralized threat. Of concern are the cavernous areas beneath the infected settlements that were discovered during the exploration, and attempts to get research personnel into these areas are underway. And there you have it, the top 10 deadliest SCPs from the SCP Foundation's classified archives. Did any of these send chills down your spine? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to SCP Files for more eerie and unexplained stories from the SCP universe. Tap the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos.